Let's talk about hobbies. We love them. That's why we have them. Collecting, building, growing, creating, all kinds. And if you've watched any one of our videos, then you all know, say it with me, budgets are about priorities. Good, got it, congrats. And we know that it's okay to prioritize the things that matter most to us. It's just sometimes hard to know what that actually looks like. Like I feel empowered, but I also feel directionless. So let's try to put a little ground under our feet here. How do we budget for our hobbies? I'm gonna start with 5 steps to start budgeting for your hobby and follow it up with 10 tips on how to save money or spend less on your hobby, because we all need those. So to start off, we need to 1. Cover all of our monthly and true expenses first. The confusing part about someone saying, prioritize your hobbies, is that there are still bigger priorities above that. We want you to feel empowered to pursue photography or disc golf or hiking 14ers, but we still gotta do it responsibly. You can't buy the $5,000 camera without first making sure that you can cover the $1,200 monthly mortgage payment, student loan payments, keep the utilities running, feed the children, because those are our true and first priorities. Passions are important, but they come after survival. 2, you'll want to determine the difference between hobby and habit. If something is a hobby, this is a life-giving activity or pursuit that you delight in prioritizing and is well worth investing your money in. Cycling, quilting, paintball, flipping furniture, or houses. If something is a habit, this is likely more of a spending tendency, and these are worth considering reining in. They're the things that give you a temporary fix but not lasting joy. And the key is to invest in lasting joy, not the temporary kind. For example, plants have become a major hobby for me. The thrill and joy I get out of growing and caring for these plants gives me actual life. Really, literally, because it's better oxygenating the air I breathe. Just kidding, those are fake. They've looked like that for a year and a half. Then, if someone went into my bathroom, they would say, oh my gosh, are you a huge skincare lover? To which I would sigh and say, actually, it's just a really bad spending habit. I'm constantly buying new products to find out if this one is the one. I regret a lot of dollars that I've spent on skincare, and it's definitely a pattern. That being said, as someone who's been spending a lot of money on plants lately, the question I really need to ask myself is, am I getting joy from taking care of these plants, or is the joy coming from the obsessive collecting of them? Let it be the first. Because if my joy comes from caring for them, then I can definitely slow my roll on some of the spending and remind myself to invest in the plants I already have. But if my joy comes from collecting them, that can also be fine, but I need to give myself some healthy limits to make sure I don't just go hog wild on plants. We want to nourish our hobbies, we don't want to guzzle them. So once we've actually handpicked a healthy habit or 2, 3, calculate how much you're already investing in it. Go through your budget or your bank statement and literally look for evidence of your hobby. A lot of my plant-related purchases tend to end up in some of those catch-all categories like fun money, miscellaneous, the occasional home improvement categorization. It works. Plants do spruce up a home. Then try to tally up the last 3 or so months of expenses pertaining to that hobby. If you use YNAB, this can be made really easy peasy with hashtags. Just go into the categories you tend to send those transactions to and label those transactions with the hashtag of your choice in the memo line. I might do hashtag plants with a Z. When you've tagged them all, you can now search by that hobby hashtag. Side note, someone asked the other day, why would you even use hashtags? That does literally nothing. Oh ye of little faith. I add the hashtag before keywords because it separates the tag from other uses of that word, making it its own thing. For instance, if I search plant in my YNAB budget, I'll get all of my plant hobby transactions, plus the plant I bought for my sister's birthday, plus the plant I bought for my mom for Mother's Day, and those aren't the ones I want. Love you, Mom. But if I search hashtag plants, I'll only get my hobby transactions. Hashtag hacked. This practice can also help us determine hobby from habit. For instance, when I see all of my plant purchases in my fun money category, they get me psyched. But then if I go to my sundries category where I categorize all my skincare purchases, I roll my eyes at half the transactions in there. Didn't need that, didn't need that. That's how I know it's a habit and not a hobby. And habits should be called into question here and there. If you're realizing you have too many plain old habits taking up valuable real estate in your budget, that may be your cue to implement more guidelines or accountability on those kinds of purchases. We all do it, it's fine. Number 4, you're going to determine your ideal budget for that hobby. Now that you have a general idea of what you've spent on this hobby, you can determine what your comfort level is in budgeting for it. Ask yourself some of these questions. What was my gut reaction when I saw how much I spend on this hobby every month? Was it good? Was it shocking? Did it make you feel sick? Also, am I letting myself pursue this hobby as much as I want to? Or am I holding back because I feel like it's a reckless or irresponsible use of money? Let's look at my plants hobby, for example. I am a shopper and a spender. I didn't used to be. Something happened, now I am. It's called character growth. I'm the person that can dive real deep into something new that I'm loving and not really realize how much I'm pouring into it. So I can see that not only has my plant hobby made up 4 of my 6 fun money transactions for this month, I also absolutely blew my fun money budget. Go with your gut on this. Are you overspending or are you under budgeting? Overspending is when we just spend way more than we decided we were going to, while under budgeting is putting less in that category than we realistically need. Overspending is often more of a conscious choice, while under budgeting is usually just lack of information. Personally, I know myself, I am absolutely overspending. Wish I felt more guilt about it than I do. When I'm psyched about something, I just buy it. I don't even look at the budget, and later I try to cover overspending by moving dollars around. That's just straight up overspending. But if you're someone who loves going to the rock climbing gym, $20 a month just isn't gonna cut it. $40 a month probably won't either. If rock climbing is really important to you, but you're not making it important to your budget, then there's gonna be some serious conflict and suppression going on. You're either going to constantly overspend in your rock climbing category, or you're going to stifle your passion for it by never giving yourself the means to go do it. Either way, I challenge you to evaluate it and be honest about how much you should realistically be feeding into that category, whether it's more or less, or whether it gives you more freedom or more accountability. Lastly, adjust as you learn. The thing about budgeting is that we really have no idea how much we're spending on something until we start tracking those expenses. So the plan you build for yourself today may totally take off and be a success, or you might crash and burn hard. The key is reflection, routinely reevaluating your priorities and how you want to manage them. So those are the 5 steps I'd encourage you to think about as you start budgeting for a hobby. And now I want to share with you guys 10 tips and tricks on how to save money on your hobby or spend less. 1, make your hobby a category group in your YNAB budget. Breaking your hobby's expenses down into more granular categories will give you a better overall grip and visual on what aspects of your hobby your money is most often going to, as well as when you may need to budget more than usual or less. 2, make an inventory of what you already have. Sometimes we just buy way more than we need because we've forgotten what we already have. And bonus, this may give you more awareness into how much your hobby has cost you, which could lead to some really helpful reflection and reevaluation. 3, sell what you don't need. It's so easy to collect a million tools and gadgets and supplies for our hobbies because we love them and we love collecting things for them. In the video world, we call this gear envy. Just recently, I sold 2 camera lenses that I never use that have been collecting real live dust on my shelf for 4 years now. So, baby steps. Number 4, sell your habits. Good night. For the longest time, I collected clothes like the world was ending, and now I'm selling them like it's my second job. Redeem your bad habits by selling them to someone who will actually benefit from them. 5, consider opportunity cost. Any dollars that are spent on X are dollars that can't be spent on Y. This mindset can help us challenge our collecting or impulse spending. Number 6, try it out before you commit. You would sure hate to spend $500 on a virtual reality headset only to discover that it makes you sick to play one. Find ways to borrow or rent hobby items before making the big purchase. You might find out you're not as into it as you thought you might have been. 7, buy hobby items used or secondhand. Just like I sold my camera lenses to someone who had actually used them, you could be the recipient of someone's old passed on items. If you're thinking of taking up quilting, buy fabric from Goodwill or an estate sale while you're learning before buying the good stuff. 8, bigger isn't always better. When I used to film weddings, I used a small gimbal called the Zhiyun crane. It was $300 and worked like a charm. Then I got a little gear envy and bought a big brand stabilizer, twice as expensive, only to find out that I much preferred the mobility of the smaller, cheaper stabilizer. Lesson learned. 9, make a timeline for your spending. Outline a timeline for when you plan to make purchases so that you know how much to realistically budget for. This can also help you rein in some of your impulse spending. And lastly, number 10, always have a wish list ready. Newsflash, your friends and family love you, and they would probably love to give you what you love. So have a wish list ready for when your friends and family ask what they can give you for your birthday or for holidays. And do them a favor by including links or pictures so that they can be really confident knowing they're getting you exactly what you need. Budgeting for hobbies is truly like budgeting for anything else. Determine where it fits among your other expenses and priorities. Make a plan, stick to the plan, and be gracious to yourself when plans change. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. You can't buy the $5,000 camera without making sure you can still pay your $12,000 rent. Holy nuts. 4, all right.